friend who we pretty much just got reconnected after all these years. I think kind of because my father died, we got reconnected actually. I hadn't seen him since I think 6th grade. And Bruce also, Bruce grew up in Fullerton, and Bruce also is currently doing biomedical research with an Israeli company, so he actually for the first time visited us, him and his wife visited us in Israel, and he now actually has a lot of connections with Israel. So.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. It's fun to come back to Fullerton. As Aviva said, we were really good friends, 5th and 6th grade, and then we went to different junior high schools, and I didn't see her for years and years. Really fun. So, I'm a Kohanim, I guess, also, but I have to apologize even more. My parents attended Temple Beth Emet. My brother went through Hebrew school there, and when I was about 8 years old, my parents got divorced. So I actually really had no religious upbringing at all. So fast forward 50 years, my parents passed away several years ago, and I guess Aviva has helped me and some other people. This is a time when a lot of people kind of go, I want to check this stuff out a little bit more. So I've been exploring my Jewish heritage, actually taking an Intro to Judaism class down at the temple down in San Diego where we live. It's a Reformed temple down there, having a great time with that, enjoying it quite a bit. So exploring all this stuff, and so my wife Janet, and our twins, we have a boy and a girl who are now 21, but it was about a year and a half ago. We went on our first trip to Israel and actually had a conference I was helping with there. I'm a gynecologist. I work at Scripps Clinic in San Diego. I teach and I do research, and I'm also working with a company startup based in Tel Aviv called Mobile ODT, and you should check it out if you can. It's really exciting. I almost brought the little device that we're working on there. Actually working on and if you know anything about it's the startup, it's basically Silicon Valley of Europe and Asia, I guess. It's amazing what they're doing in the country there. So this is just one company, and they're actually doing some really great things. So I was introduced to the CEO of this company, Mobile ODT, 3 or 4 years ago. There was actually 3 or 4 people working in the company. Now they have over 20 or about 30 people working for them. Working with a device, their main product is working on a device, a smartphone-based device to help diagnose cervical cancer and cervical cancer precursors. Wow. So they're actually focusing on low resource settings. The device is currently deployed in 20 countries now. This is 20 more than it was deployed in when I first met them. I've been working with them through a grant from the Vodafone Americas Foundation, doing some work in San Diego and also a clinic in Tijuana and some other things in Mexico, so we're doing some things there. There's more to the story if you want to know more, but I'll stop there because we want to talk about the temple a little bit more. Anyway, really exciting stuff. So it was an amazing day, the day that we came to visit. It was the first Friday of Ramadan, a year and a half ago when we were there. And we actually spent the day in Bethlehem with a Palestinian-based guide. Our first trip to Israel as a family. And then about 5 o'clock, we left and we went into Efrat, and we met with Aviva and her family. Her whole family was there. Everyone was home. So her 2 daughters, her son, we were all there. It was amazing and so welcoming. Tours around, and again, don't have understanding of how to do things correctly. Anyway, sundown came and we went to temple. It was really fun, and it was amazing how vibrant that community is. I have never seen anything like it, and it's hard. Is there more like that? It's pretty unique, I would imagine. It was. I mean, it was really. It was a celebration, and people were really just. There was it was amazing. So, and her family just so welcoming. It's obvious there is a strong community there that is vibrant, and it was. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Thanks.
Can you spell your last name?
K-A-H-N.
Who are your parents?
Ruth and Sydney.
I don't remember them. Okay.
Okay, and the last person I want to introduce.
Oh, Ruth. Oh,
the last person I want to introduce is Katie Archibald Woodward, who just spent 4 days with us in Efrat. Katie is becoming a Methodist minister?
Presbyterian.
Presbyterian
so
minister.
Yeah, it's another one of those. Yeah.
Katie is at
progressive.
Katie is at the end stages of her studies to become a Presbyterian minister. And we hosted her for 4 days, and she got to experience both Shabbat and Sukkot with us, and including with our congregation. And she can tell you from her perspective as someone who's not Jewish what the experience was like.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hi.
Yes, it was a really rich experience for me. Having gone through seminary and studied the Tanakh and learned a little bit about Sukkot through the scriptural readings, it was so wonderful to get to experience it in real life. And I love rituals and traditions, which is something I value so much about Judaism. So it was a real treat. I actually got to go with Daniel to pick out the lulav and the willow and the myrtle and the etrog, and whether or not it should have a pitom on the end or not, and like you don't want to break it off. It was wonderful. It was so great to get to be involved in every little piece. And while I was there for the 4 days, I actually worshipped at 3 times at the 2 congregations. So at Daniel's, which was my first experience with going to synagogue in an Orthodox synagogue, and then also going to Aviva's. And I also found this a little amusing because my parents also were married, go to different churches, I go to a different church, and they explained to me, it's like, you know, you're stranded on an island, you have 2 Jews and 3 synagogues. And I was like, yeah, I get that. Like, Christians are the same way. So anyway, it was really rich. And so, but it was wonderful to get to experience Daniel's synagogue first, because it was my... it was much more traditional, where the women were in a balcony in the back, and it was divided front to back. And then to get to go and worship with Aviva for 2 mornings, she had said, yeah, it's really great, we have women in leadership. And then I walk in, and it's like, wow, this is such a different space. And yes, they are in a gym, but it didn't register with me. You wouldn't have known it. They've really crafted this space well, where yes, you do have a divider, but it's through the middle, and the Torah is right in the front between everyone, and the women were carrying the Torah around as well as the men, which I thought was so wonderful. And one of the services we went to, a woman was preaching, and then a little girl did the final reading, and so it was, I just thought, wow, this is so empowering, and I was really encouraged. There are these wonderful strides towards equality, and I just didn't expect that of the Orthodox tradition, because I didn't know any better. And so that was really heartwarming. And also, having studied Hebrew, like biblical Hebrew, and not really remembering a lot of the vocabulary, but still being able to read, especially during Sukkot, where we sang so much, was such a rich experience. I mean, you could really feel the energy of the prayer in that space. And it was a really marvelous, very impactful experience for me. And I'm really encouraged and excited that you will have a more stable location for your really rich and wonderful community. And I'm just excited for this journey ahead for you, and I wish you blessings on that.
Thank you.
You can continue to guide people into wholeness and depth of worship. So, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I wanted to, first of all, thank everybody who has contributed so far to this project, and I wanted to give a little bit of an update in terms of where we're at right now. Basically, what the Asa family has raised to date is a little over $130,000. We've committed to raising $250,000. We're